Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DAL season. Oh, geez, I'm already forgetting what the
It's
seasons
number
is.
5.
Fine, thank you so
It's number
much.
5.
I always get it wrong. I think it's 5, and then I always mess it up. And okay, whatever. Anyways, yes, we are back at season 5, and we have a very amazing match today between 1HP Esports and Scull. My name is PowerOfTheStorm, joined by the lovely TimeToLight. How are you doing today?
I'm outstanding. We were going to have a VOD match, and now we get blessed with one that's live. So I'm even more ecstatic than I was an hour ago when I thought we were going to start in 40 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good start. But unfortunately, that means we don't get Team Gusick. That's one thing I'm not happy about. Team Gusick does not get shown. On the bright side, Team Skull does, the former Northern Shield roster. For all of you people who are new to T3, that's who we have for today. Now, Power, I was taking looks earlier, and the former Northern Shield roster, currently Team Skull, has not been looking good. They are 1-6 in maps. They have fallen to teams that we usually don't see them fall to. 1 HP on that VOD match you may see in the future. Spoiler alert, turn off your headphones if you don't want to hear this. 1 HP actually did win a map. They won a match. They went 2-1 up against Team Gusick. They took that series, and they are now up at 3 and 5 in map differential, but still not looking great for the season.
Unfortunately, both teams are kind of not in the greatest situation all around. They are hoping to come here and get a very important win for both these teams. They can use that win to either springboard them into getting more in the future or to just outright secure their spot potentially into getting into the playoffs and continuing their lives in this tournament. So very important match for both these teams. And honestly, despite the fact that Scull or Northern Shield, whatever they would prefer to be called, they are currently Scull as we see them. However, whatever happens to them in their future, we do hope they are picked up and that they will be able to actually effectively run into some actual or they get picked up by an org that is actually looking for them and wanting them to succeed. So if you are looking to maybe pick up a roster or pick up a few players, well, there isn't a better match for you guys to watch to get a read on these players.
We're right here, and we get to see all the action live and in front of us. Now, if you're wondering what we have for maps, as I believe just about everybody is, I don't know if we have an overlay. Magic! As I say it, it pops up below me. Isn't that so cool? We start off with Oregon. That was picked by Team Skull. 1 HP chosen by Clubhouse, chosen by 1 HP. Have my brain cells left the building? Oh
I mean,
my
I forgot what
gosh.
season it was, so you're doing fine.
That's fair. If that's any indication of how today is going, you may just want to leave now. No, please don't. This is fun. But Villa will be our final map. You can see who starts on which side below us. See that as you may. But more importantly, it's 1 HP starting on the defense of Oregon. Now, Power, I want to get your opinion here. You have been focusing more on Siege than I have in the last 3 weeks or so. So you're more aware of how the Oregon splits work. Who do you usually favor on the map, defense or offense?
Typically for Oregon, I have found that as time has gone on, it's kind of become similar to Clubhouse, where predominantly you do typically see it being defender sided, but there is a really good chance for the attacking team if they are comfortable on that map, just because of how often it tends to be played, especially at this level of play, they can tend to punch back and sometimes 3-3 is very, very common, but even 4-2 for the attacking team isn't unheard of. But it would typically have to be the defending team as well, is just really uncomfortable on defense or just doesn't have something is going on with them as well. That means that they aren't able to perform as well as they would hopefully like to.
Yeah, you're usually looking at teams who have their issues on either side and then pick it up right back on the other side. But it seems like the teams are ready. We are as well. Oregon's going to kick underway. It's Skull over on that attacking side. 1 HP, start off on the defense, and I need predictions, Power. Not more side predictions, rather match itself. Are you thinking Skull's going to come back here in Season 5, or do you think 1 HP is going to walk away with it?
Well, I know a little bit more about 1 HP than I do about Scull, and ultimately I feel like that while I have seen the players on Scull play, and while I do believe they are very good, I will not discount their potential to win this one. I think I do have to give it over to the boys at 1 HP. I think that they have the more likely chance of winning, and I think that it's probably what we're going to see in this match, but I would not be surprised if Scull are at the least going to be able to keep a couple of the maps close, or even take a map off of them.
I would love to see this go to 3 maps, mainly because I like Villa, and Oregon and Clubhouse are played too much. I think in the last maybe 4 or 5 times I've casted Rainbow Six Siege best of 3s, I've casted Clubhouse and Oregon in 4 of them. So I love the maps, but they got old like, I don't know, 2 years ago. So if you could start to pick Coastline, that would be outstanding. This is a call out to every single T3 team. Stop picking Clubhouse and Oregon. They're fun, but they've gotten boring. Nonetheless, looking at your bans, you can see them up on your screen. Thatcher, Flores, Valkyrie, Mira. On today's episode of Surprising Absolutely Nobody, all 4 of them are gone. Again, nothing surprising, nothing out of the blue. Power, are you expecting anything unique coming through here, or are we looking at your normal uniform setup, try and take what you need to take, move your way either up or down, depending on where the site is, and then get on with your life?
I certainly think that the potential for some kind of compositions from either of these teams that aren't exactly conventional, but are capable of surprising and potentially even punching above what would be expected of them can certainly happen, particularly on the attack. I feel like that we're bound to see a little bit more versatility just because of the recent changes. No one really knows where the attacking meta exactly stands. We're probably going to see a lot of operators like Finka, which hasn't really gotten that much spotlight, but we are seeing being played now because of our recent changes. And so because I feel like that with
Attackers need to locate
with the
and defuse
changes
as
that
many
have been made
bombs
and with
as
that
they can.
happening, the potential for a variety is certainly a lot higher.
We're seeing. Okay, I thought Chu was going to reinforce the second wall there. I was very concerned. I'm like, I haven't been away from Rainbow Six Siege for that long. They don't reinforce that anymore, right? No, they don't. I'm not crazy. I promise. As Sheldon once said, I've been tested. But Chu, I think you're looking at a very aggressive setup from the Goyo here. If you don't, I'm a little surprised. We're probably going to see that second shield set up over towards the blue side, and well, there you go. There's the second Vulcan. Are they going to use the Vulcan? Yes, they are. Okay, I wanted to make sure, but yes, they do. Louis deciding to go out and around towards dining. I don't think there's a drone over towards that side, so it could benefit them just a little bit. But if you don't drone out the Malusi here, it's a very dangerous aspect. On the other side, they have droned out somebody in Big Tower. I did not see a name tag above that, so I have no clue who it was, but somebody's been snuffed.
It does look like for the moment at least they have rotated back out. Teku currently going to be playing right above this E-box hatch, at the very least having his teammate get it open so we could potentially rotate back down, but it could potentially be a nuisance for the players playing inside or potentially trying to take this tower. Although right now it does look like that someone may have known that Teku was actually rotated all the way over to garage, but it does look like that no shots are fired. It doesn't reveal its position, so he is able to back up. And just right now, a really heavy roam game coming out from a few of the players on 1 HP. It seems like they are being very careful to fall back to site whenever they need to.
Not done yet, hanging out, and apparently not done with moving around the map. At least that's relatively self-explanatory, but this is a very uniform take. I'm not seeing too much branching out from the attackers. Nobody really spawning over towards the parking side and not trying to gain too much information on that side as well. Chu is just hanging out and watching towards construction, but it's, like I said, very one-dimensional, and this is not what you can have in Rainbow Six Siege. If you are looking for round wins, you need to play with a little bit of a more spread out attack, and it needs to be very efficient. So far, there's a minute 40 left in the round, about a minute 20 gone, with that being said, and the extent of their ground is taking meeting, but they haven't cleared out anything else. None of the roam clear has been, well, taken care of. Bean Yacht chilling on white, and nobody can deal with them.
It is worth pointing out that players like Teku have gone ahead and rotated back on the site. We currently see Teku playing behind that shield and blue bunker, and we see players like Triss that are kind of holding up on to the tower stairs for the most part, but they're not really playing too aggressively. The only player that was really doing that was Binya, who's currently on this Fraser stairs and looking at to get a kill. Will actually tag not done yet and then try to rotate out, but no kills was that resulting from either side, and it does look like he's going to be stuck in a little position. Playing his life here will actually be Louis to try to bail him out. Not done yet. Does pick up the kill, however, and now the man advantage is squarely in favor of Scull as a nade does end up downing Triss, meaning that man advantage even more in favor of Scull. Now the second nade is going to come in and almost certainly pick him up.
Yeah, Trist will be finished here. Yep, there's the nade. Perseus gets the finish. Teku trying to pick up their fallen comrade. Barely cannot. No! Misses the opportunity. The Finka stays alive, at least for the time being. Kobe, looking down, trying to hold their ground, and well, they don't even have to look down anymore. In goes the flash, and well, the push soon to follow. Teku can't see a dang thing. The clear will come through. Oh no, Perseus doesn't clear it. Information should be there, as Teku can swing this, and they will, but they'll lose the fight. Oh no, this round seems like it's falling apart. Binyat brings it back with one. There's another for Chu, looking to bring back more, and gets only one. Binyat, a sliver of health, sneeze in the correct direction, and you get a free kill. The peek around coming through, Binyat not getting through, and they will, but only so far. The bearing 9 of Hacker doing anything but, well, there's the frag, and there's the round going the way of Scull, who do clear out that bottom floor defense, even with very little map control.
Binyat doing a very unfortunate move, playing hyper aggressive on those stairs, getting caught out of position and having to have one of his teammates try to bail him out. It did end up working. He was able to rotate back down the site, and in the end was able to pick up a frag, but it cost his teammates life. And so because of the fact that the players on Scull knew there were 2 players playing over near freezer, that meant that there were less players on site, and they could easily push in and actually effectively take the site without too much resistance. It's also worth pointing out that 1HP were not running a smoke or anything to really stop them from pushing into the site once they actually started dropping and coming down those back tower stairs. And so because of that, it was mostly just them trying to peek and get frags. And unfortunately for them, Scull were able to fire back and, well, end up winning out the round.
True back on the Goyo. Now 1 HP, I like this decision. They are not going back to the same site. A lot of the times teams will decide, hey, we lost it. We may know what we did wrong, but we're not 100% sure. We'll go back there anyway and just lose it. That's usually what happens. We're not seeing that this time. Very happy to not see that. But 1 HP now going to the top floor. And the main issue we usually see with teams going to the top floor is they try and employ what was wrong on a different site. For instance, in that round, they didn't have much of a roam presence other than the white stairs. And while the white stairs, that roam presence was dealt with very quickly. We saw Lily fall. Binyat was the last to stay alive in the round, but took a lot of damage early on and did not hold the ground they needed to. So that was really the main challenge for 1 HP. Hopefully they don't try to overextend with a roam setup because it's the top floor. Maybe you put somebody with a C4 downstairs, but that's about all you're going to see in the department of staying off-site.
Once again, 1 HP choosing to not run with a smoke or any other area denial operator, which we see so often brought out on these defensive sides, could potentially come back to cost them once again, but we'll have to wait and see when the round actually continues. As so far, it does seem like that a lot of Scull are currently trying to get control of this small tower and potentially try to flush out any roamers. We do see that they do have quite a few of them. Teku and Binyat in particular were currently playing down in kitchen. They may have rotated off since we last saw them, but at least for now, they are potentially going to be causing a bit of a headache for the defenders, excuse me, for the attackers who have to waste these drones actually droning out this kitchen itself before they can even push in. And they still have nowhere to go from there besides pushing up the white stairs.
I'd rather see them take more large tower control. I feel like it's a little interesting how Scull has set up their attacks. Granted, they have worked thus far, but usually on the top floor you see big tower control and attic control taken, whereas on the top floor, or on the bottom floor, sorry, you see the small tower and more dining and kitchen control taken. This time around, they are looking to push towards dining and kitchen, but Binyat and Teku both in this position, and there's the drone. It does find the Jaeger, so if the Jaeger backs up, they do have no information on the Mozzie hanging out below, but that, of course, is only for the time being, and as time ticks off that clock, Scull need to start to make a push. The Ash looking to do so aggro, looking to get aggressive and live up to their name, but thus far, not getting overzealous and not getting reckless.
We do see a drone come out here, and it is caught by Binyat, who will quickly rotate back down. No kills going for either way, and a minute left on the board. Things are about to get dicey pretty soon. 2 players outside a big window with the diffuser out there as well, looking like a potential big window push, but to open things up is going to be Perseus with a very nice nade on the Triss. Aggro taking a fight with Binyat will do a ton of damage to them on the freezer stairs, as we do see Ying going and throwing those candelas into sight, trying to put a lot of pressure as Chu's currently getting droned out. Binyat still trying to deal with this Ash, but it won't matter. Aggro to get the very nice headshot kill, and now it's down to these remaining players. Teku taking a ton of damage will pull out the pistol and try to fire back, and they will end up getting the kill. 30 seconds left remaining. A 4v3 on the board. Smoke's going out, and it's going to be the Hibana jump into sight. Gets down by the Moz. Is he playing SMG, or excuse me, playing with that Roni? Will get another headshot onto Kobe. It's now all down to 2 players remaining on the side of Scull, and another one as well. 2v2 on the board with 10 seconds remaining. Diffuser is down, but the shots go through from Louis. It's going to be a 1v1, and Chu's able to get it, killing Perseus with a very nice headshot. That was a very hectic final couple of seconds, but in the end, it will be 1 HP to barely close out the round.
I feel like I could have just gone back and forth, kill feed to the center of your screen, kill feed to the center of your screen, just staring at what the heck is going on and who's killing each other. The Aruni just hanging out in kids' dorms, not giving up any ground whatsoever. And then you saw Chu on the Goyo, reliable as ever, locking it down behind the bunk bed, cleaning out the Habana, of course, being downed prior by that Aruni, and then cleaning out the final kill just the same. That was a nice hold on that defensive side. And I'm going to say that 1 HP did what I think they shouldn't have done, which was get a little overzealous with the roam and trying to, I'd say, make up for what they didn't have in the roam game back in round 1, even with the site switch. But I suppose it worked for them. I'm not going to say I approve nor disapprove because it was kind of even trades and didn't waste as much time as they probably would have liked. But whether it existed or not, I feel like they probably would have had a little bit of a better shot back on the site if they had more players in tow. That Finka very easily could have cleaned out the round. Lucky for 1 HP, she did not.
I will also say I'm not a really big fan of that push that they end up taking in, or at the very least that's push that Scull ended up taking in, pushing over from small tower and then putting a lot of pressure on a big window. It's really easy to figure out where you're going to be funneling in from, and so it felt like just a choke point that the players on 1 HP were really able to close down decently effectively. Obviously, it did go down to 1v1 at the end, so can't bash on it too much, but even still, I feel like there are other better ways to attack that site. But enough talking about that site. We are going to be heading back down the basement once again, where Scull had a pretty solid dismantling of 1 HP 2 rounds ago. However, this time, to really change their strategy, we are finally seeing a smoke come out for Trist.
I can't believe it's been 2 rounds we haven't seen a smoke. This is the first time in seemingly years a smoke has not been played in Tier 3 Rainbow Six Siege for one of the first 2 rounds. Yet, here we are. Now, I'm going to say I'd like to see a little bit more of a roam compared to round 1 on the basement side. Maybe 1 or 2 players focusing towards that top floor, and maybe just trying to clear out that top floor, just for time. It doesn't even have to be for kills. Of course, time is the essence of all things in Rainbow Six Siege. At times your executes, make sure that you are locking down the building over said time, hence my name, TimeToLight. No, I'm kidding. But Scull, they were very good at dismantling this the last time the basement was played. It was very quick to clear out. The remainder of it was over towards that white stairs, and even that was relatively quick to clear out. Scull, as timing goes, I would like them I would like to see them play extremely fast and extremely concise. Of course, this time around, the E-box hatch is reinforced, which is an interesting decision from 1 HP, rather than just keeping it open like they did before. But they are bringing a Cade this time around to make sure it can't get opened, unless, well, there's the Maverick.
It also seems like that there is going to be, from 1 HP, based on the fact that we are a minute 15 into the round, or a minute 20 at this point, a very slow and just anchor approach where they're not roaming at all. None of the players are playing really aggressive. They're all just holding passive angles and waiting for Scull to come to them, which allows them to get good positioning. But I feel like that it shows the versatility of the players on 1 HP. They are able to play an effective roaming style that we saw last round in particular that worked out decently well, and then switched to playing the strategy where they play more defensively. We'll have to see if that does end up resulting in them getting any more value on the board, especially when it comes to dealing with the players now that are doing a very similar take to what they were doing previously, that being Scull when they attacked on the first round, but now they actually have the players in positions to counteract them when they decide to push down the back tower stairs or potentially drop the E-box hatch.
Yeah, you talked about countering. That is the essence of Rainbow Six Siege. Now, 1 HP is going to counter the utility game by bringing that Wamai. We're seeing TechU on it, and of course TechU was on it back in round number 1. But I actually casted TechU yesterday, or 2 days ago, my apologies, and I called out their name and they didn't do fairly well. So I'm hoping to see something change between then and now, as we are seeing the smoke being played, and that's denying a lot of ground. There goes the final Toxic Babe. That will tick the clock down to about 17 seconds or so, depending on when that exactly went off. But as they start to push down this main stairs side, looking for more ground, Scull is taking it and hasn't even seen a player. Trist hiding behind the shield, protected by the ADSs, but TechU gets that opener. I say their name, and they pop up like Bloody Mary. So does 1 HP. It's a 4 versus 2, but down to 8 seconds. It's time off the clock. It's time not there, and 1 HP is right there to take the lead.
The power of the smoke coming in full force, as well as that passive play that I was curious if they were gonna be able to do it, considering how their first 2 rounds were so heavy on the roam, if they were gonna be able to effectively hold sight with just a heavy anchor, and they showed it in spades. That was a very good round from 1 HP, and the counteraction of play that they were able to achieve once Skull actually ended up pushing into the site. They played so passively, just held the proper angles, and there wasn't much they could do, especially utilizing that smoke to its full effectiveness. That's why smoke is brought so often, because it was able to stall out for so long with the diffuser in hand that they were not able to do anything until the final couple of seconds left, and then it was just rushing in, and it was really hectic, and the players of Skull didn't know what to do. So
Of course, they lost. The second was close as can be. There, it came down to Scull taking a little bit too much time. Again, not gaining the map control they required early enough in the round. Now they were forcing HP onto that tertiary site. And NA opts for more of the meeting and kitchen side rather than kitchen dining because Europe is weird. I said it, yes, I will stand by it. Kitchen and dining is a weird site. You don't need to hold a small tower, whereas if you go kitchen dining, you still need to hold that big tower side because the long hallway along the meeting is difficult to maintain while you're spreading out so far. So, call out to EU, go to kitchen and meeting, thank you very much. But, call out to NA, keep what you're doing.
speaking of weird strategies, they have opened the stage wall, or at least one side of it, and placed a deployable shield with an alibi clone right behind it, which, or at least hologram, I believe it is referred to nowadays. But it's a very weird choice, at least in my opinion, just because of the fact that it's so easy for you to get control of Big Tower. Even if you are being pressured from Attic, you can kind of keep an eye on that really easily if you're an attacker by just having a player posted up there and watching, and then having a flank drone or even a nomad air jab just placed on the back door. And it doesn't look like they are attacking it now. So it looks like they're totally bypassing their strategy, instead going for a main push and eventually getting these side walls open before running into the side and getting the diffuser down. But even so, it's still a really weird strategy, and I guess it seemingly worked because it made the attackers have to choose a different place to attack. But considering the also sort of unorthodox way Skull attacked in the second round on the kid's bedroom site, this may just be their strategy. This may just be their default strategy for attacking the site.
Scull have the strat books, and you love to see them come through, but you question them when they look a little bit off the norm. Teku, speaking of which, off the norm, playing the Korean op of Vigil. That, I do have to say, is a little bit of a new one, and Perseus just nades Chu to death. Down goes that Maestro, and well, down goes the Rome, having to back out, and now with a minute 10 or minute 15, it's basically cleared. So is Louis. Oh my goodness, Perseus aware of it on the double kill for the round. And I think Teku's about to go droned here. I don't think that this ability is going to stay up for long enough. And yep, there's the drone. And Teku has to back out. If they don't, it's either going to be a nade or just a clean push coming through because it is Swing City here on Oregon.
A minute left and 2 players down on the side of 1 HP. With how close these rounds have been, all in all, that could be devastating. But Binya is going to make things a little bit easier for his team, as he is going to go ahead and pick up aggro. But Trace, unfortunately, is going to miss those shots, and Hacker is going to end up picking up the kill. Binya, though, going to drag his team kicking and screaming, getting another kill onto Hacker. The refrags coming in for his team, is now he's stuck in a very difficult position. No HP remaining. One of them not done yet. Drops the hatch and actually gets the kill on the way down. All down to Tech, who currently in the back of Kitchen. The bomb is going down from Perseus, and Kobe is going to try to flank and actually gets caught out by Teku. 1v2, the pings are coming out now, but unfortunately Teku can't hit the shots. Not done yet with the headshot kill to clean up the round, and well, now the score is tied once again.
We're dead even, but the important part of it is 1 HP now has their option of sight. They will head back to that top floor, one that was, albeit close, nonetheless, they won it. And the scoreline being even is about what we're used to here on Oregon. You usually have a team that picks up one of the primary sites on the attacking side. They usually pick up the tertiary sites past that, and then there you go. You usually have your 3-3 split. Sometimes the defenders will pick up both primary and secondary sites each time, but yeah, it's a little difficult for Skull specifically to pick up both of these final two rounds. The kids' dorms, I feel like if they replicate the same push, they're going to fall. And as we most likely head to the basement in our final round, assuming, of course, 1 HP pick up this round, then it's going to be a challenge for them to replicate what they did all the way back in round 1, because as we saw just 2 rounds ago, 1 HP were more than ready for it.
You can stop worrying about what
It seems, however, that they still have their, at least 1 HP, have their aggressive ways. We saw that on the previous site, on the previous round, where even though it was a sort of a more defensive setup overall, they were still taking really aggressive angles in it and holding aggressive positions that resulted in players like Perseus getting kills that potentially didn't have the right to be getting, especially some of those nade kills and swing kills that came out from the players about a minute left remaining in the round. So potentially that may happen once again, where they get caught out playing aggressively. If that does end up happening and they decide that they don't want to play more passively when they do go to that site, but for now they're going to be watching the top floor site being attacked. And well, it looks like that instead of going for that small tower take like we saw last time, Skull have opted for a more traditional approach.
Now, I like the traditional approach we're seeing from Skull. They are as we said, a team that has kind of disbanded, but is still playing out the remainder of their leagues. So seeing traditional pushes is more common out of teams like this, but the curveballs, I'll say they are always nice to see just the same. While they may be confusing when they catch 1 HP off guard like they have in the past, it's always nice to see a little bit of confusion it tosses their way. Now, we're seeing Classroom cleared out. I believe they're going to try and deal with the Mute Jammer put down, and, well, TechU has already been dealt with 3 and 5 so far through our 5 rounds of play. Not looking great. I'm going to say could be a lot better, and has honestly been falling off just a little bit over the last week or so. It's some issues going up against some of their opponents. Some interesting setups though with those Kairos on Hacker. That's a new one on the wall, trying to set up multiple angles to peek through. I see the multiple angles, just the way they're set up kind of intrigues me.
Personally, I agree that maybe not the most conventional result, but we did mention that, you know, the stuff that isn't conventional coming up from teams like this can be some of the most entertaining. So we'll have to see how effective it actually ends up being right now. But in the meantime, it does look like that Trist on the smoke is actually playing a decently aggressive. Currently sitting inside of Z Hall, potentially going to fight with Perseus. But Perseus does end up pre-firing it and ends up having Trist ends up forcing Trist, to go ahead and rotate back in to server room. And it looks like for a second, Beanyot may have tried to see if they could save their friend by pushing down and actually helping them rotate, but actually it looks like Scull are just going to go ahead and back off. They're going for more of a main take now. They're going and throwing in a bunch of utility, trying to go ahead and burn some of the defender's utility on the other end. Although in the meantime, some of the players like Louis are getting a little bit too aggressive potentially as they're trying to peek angles. The defenders have and have on lockdown. And well, if another kill ends up going the way of Scull, I'd say this round is basically over for 1 HP.
Chris trying to play aggressive in security. Not done yet. Now Finka boosted. Flashbang will go through, but I think the angle's being held. Not done yet, just flashed themselves. And somehow, yeah, there you go. Trist will be flashed, but Beanyot is not done yet, is now done for. As the push tries to come through from Scull, but it's an issue when the roams are still here, but the lockdown is not. Somehow, some way, they have walked through. 1 kill for all 3 remaining players. It's Trist in a 1 versus 3, trying to lock it down. Cannot do so. Scull pull a rabbit out of the hat. Houdini on Oregon, and now Houdini has the lead.
Simply winning your gunfights there is pretty much the only thing I can really say in terms of what actually ended up happening. Unfortunately, it looked like that the players on 1 HP, when they got those 2 kills and brought it back in their favor in terms of man count, they decided to play aggressively into the remaining player set of Scull, and the players on Scull were able to hit their shots. There was a grenade kill. It did go out. Unfortunately, we did not catch it, but you could presume that was from a player that was maybe playing a little bit more passive, potentially the smoke if they had one, although I cannot recall top of my head. But in any case, it unfortunately did result in them going down, and then the other 2 players just swung that were on site and got taken out. And well, at that point, you know where Trist is. You know he's roaming downstairs. You can assume where he's going to be coming from, and it was just lights out from there. A very unfortunate round for 1HP. And well, if they want to be able to actually take this path, they're going to need to win this round.
I have to say it was a very smart play from 1HP to deal with not done yet as 2 players, but the issue was they didn't make up for it on the rest of the site. We saw the Goyo holding the long angle all the way over towards that master bedroom wall from the back of the kids' dorms, and that's a great angle, not when you don't have help from the top of the fight. Of course, we saw the swing come through, the freest of kills, a Black Friday sale, just a little bit out of season if you will, but one that was a questionable one to say the least. I'd like to see something like that happen again, just with a little bit more of filling in the blanks, of course the blanks being the no longer held angles, and we haven't seen that from 1HP, the fluidity between the squad where one player moves to fill in a hole and another is right there to clear it out. But it's something that, of course, comes with time. And as we see Trist come into the team, I feel like it's something as they watch this VOD back and hopefully hear me talk about it, hint, hint, Trist, maybe try and fill that in.
It is worth pointing out that 1HP does have players like Teku on the roam. Once again, they are not going for a strict hard, rigid anchor setup. They are roaming once again. Teku does actually end up getting caught out and immediately rotates all the way back down into the site. So maybe that roam was a little bit short-lived. It does look like it is going to be. So potentially, wasting 1 or maybe even 2, depending on what ends up happening, drones for the players remaining on Scull. But so far, their drone economy has been really, really good. I haven't felt like there's been a round, except for maybe the one they ended up losing on this basement site, where their drone economy wasn't the greatest, and it ended up costing them. But that is one thing that I will give credit Scull for, or I will give Scull credit for. And well, now at the very least, we look on the side, we do see quite a few drones lost, but at the very least, they still have taken control of the second and first floor respectively, and now they're going to be able to start making their way throughout the rest of the map.
Yeah, they've been losing the drones, but it's never really been a lack of information. And now, as I say that, they're down to 4 drones, 3 of which being expended already. 1 still in the pocket of Perseus. As I say that, it is thrown out. Now, you were talking about drone economy, and as soon as you mentioned it, it does go by the wayside. But we will see them start to establish their push. And a lot of times your drone economy is set up to clear out that roam. It has now done that, as we saw the fallback earlier from Teku over towards the kitchen side of play. And Vignot just not roaming this time around. No real reason to do so. It is a much more condensed hold for 1HP. One that replicates what we saw back in round 1 and over in round number 3, if my memory serves me correctly, but it needs to play well. Flashbangs will start to burn out some of those Wamais and or ADSs, but will the shots be hit? Teku, you hit the Goyo shield. Oh my gosh, I think I saw the Goyo shield. I'm pretty sure it didn't get cleared out from the side. Nonetheless, aggro starts to push in, and as time ticks off the clock, so do the 1HP players. They continue to fall, but it's turned back by Trist. As time continues to tick, so do the player deaths, and somehow it's down to just the 3 versus 1. Trist left in a 1 versus 3, and well, Perseus clears that out from the murder hole from behind, doming and dinging out, my apologies, the back turned mute, and that is the round, or the smoke, my apologies, and that's the round in and of itself. Scull take a 4-2 lead, and you were talking about it earlier. The attackers are I'm gonna stop trying to speak. I've lost it. Oh my gosh.
I will finish what I assume you were talking about, which is that the attacking team taking a 4-2 half typically is a result of the defenders kind of flubbing it a little bit. And I feel like certainly that happened there. Teku is going to be shooting himself in the foot after that unfortunate shot onto that Wamai shield that potentially could have costed the round just because of the fact that he was in such a valuable position, considering people were pushing in from Freezer and we're pushing in from Laundry. That's the perfect shield to be able to hold both of those.
Attackers need to look,
and he shot it, and then he just ended up dying later on, wasn't able to hit the shot. So even though credit has to be given to Scull for being able to play super well and for being able to hit those shots and pretty much be uncontested, unfortunately, a couple of small mistakes like that, or potentially even big ones, I would argue that's a pretty big mistake, it really costs did them, and at the very least in that round, potentially even in previous rounds, you go back and look at it. So now as we do move on to the next half at least, we're seeing a very similar lineup of operators come out from Scull, and well, with them having the advantage in this one, I feel like that's going to mean 1HP have to really fire back hard and really want to win this map if they do want to end up winning.
I was listening to the Twitter space held by Dark Zero and Pengu. By the way, Pengu, on the off chance you're watching this, which I don't think it's happening, congratulations. BZ. It's always nice to see. And they were talking about the differences between Europe and America, not only in Siege but in real life. But back to Siege specifically, in Europe there's a lot more tactical play. You're seeing just about everything get droned at just about every level of play, from tier 3 scrims to ranked all the way up to the pro scene. And on the other side, here in NA, sometimes droning just isn't done, and sometimes people just like to swing. We saw that from Scull there. Drone activity was very low, of course, so was the drone count. And in that case, they just decided, hey, time to hold W, right click and left click, or mouse 2 and mouse 1, and all they did was walk onto sites and get kills for themselves. And the one issue that 1HP was running into is that they had so many different angles to watch, they couldn't watch them all with efficacy. And you cannot have that happen where people just condense on you and you're not ready for it. You need to have that roam game set up, as I mentioned it, all the way back in round 1 or into round 2, where it is well established and you're ready for the pushes coming through. Whereas that time Scull, compared to that round 3 push, didn't have the drones, but they had the multi-dimensional push coming through, and it was so effective for them.
A minute 30 left in the round for 1HP to effectively take the site. Basement is the site, in case it wasn't made immediately obvious by the minute 30 that has already passed in the attacking phase, that is, and they just got open E-blocks hatch, plenty of time for them to get something done and effectively push, but a bit of aggressive plays coming out from Hacker might tamper the aggression from 1HP at the very least. They are trying to take and effectively flush out these players playing by tarps and around pillar, but they aren't really doing the greatest job of it. Smoke gonna be coming out to hold off blue bunker as Teku is currently playing inside of it, but aside from that, not much is happening, and Hacker ends up getting that aggressive play he was looking for and pushing up and getting the kill on the beam yacht, removing that Sophia from the, or potentially meaning that there are no more stuns left that could help them clear out players around pillar. A huge kill going into this, and now, well, with the man advantage firmly in their favor, I get the feeling that it's going to be not long before they end up crumbling entirely. And Hacker gets 2 kills somehow while he's blind. Aggro gets another at the same time, and while Teku is able to get 1, Hacker fires right back with a 4K in the round somehow. And I mean, good work from them, but they take the round, and oh my god, that was insane.
What? I'm sorry, Hacker, you couldn't see a dang thing. I couldn't see a dang thing, and I have wall hacks. What is that? I am at a loss for words as Scull pick up the round, as they should have, by the way. Hacker getting aggressive as he should. Like I said, NA is Swing City. Never mind the entire continent. It is just embodied in a single city. But it was extremely effective. Hacker, knowing that time was just being wasted on the attacking side, decided to get aggressive themselves. And aggro doesn't even need to get aggro. When you have Hacker on your squad playing on the Jaeger, you're able to use the Wamai discs we saw earlier. You're able to use the ADSs to burn out the utility we saw expended prior to it. And the Zofia, taken out early on, is done and dusted. Scull decide now to head to Kitchen Dining as their second site in the rotation. This is an interesting decision, but they realize that if they're going to win kids' dorms, that they're going to head here anyway, so why not get it out of the way now? And bring out the power play on 1HP, who are going to be thinking, assuming they lose this round, what the heck are we doing?
If Scull do end up winning this round, which considering how effective that round was from Hacker in particular, but it's the entirety of Scull, if they do end up winning, I would have to say that there's not much that 1HP can do after that point. They've secured OT at the very least, and 1HP would have to win 4 rounds in a row just to take it there in the first place. I feel like that if they do end up winning this and just absolutely booming the mental of 1 HP, then it's done for. Map 2, you know, we'll have to see how well 1 HP do end up performing, but at least for the moment, it is going to be in. It looks like actually 1 HP are going for their patented green hall rush, already pushing into green hall and taking a ton of space. The diffuser's already going to start going down, but Louis opening up with a kill. Triss following with another as Louis is down. Triss goes down as well from Hack. But the damage has been done. A 2v4 left remaining, and well, all they got to do is pick up Louis. And I mean, this is looking a pretty solid chance of them winning out this round.
Oh, and not done yet. Has to open up that castle barricade. Oh, audio cues. Beanyard gets the kill. Hacker, 1 versus 4. 110 HP and down a floor. That's the issue you're running into, and I believe that has been heard. The audio cues will be there, as will they be on the castle barricades removal. This round is done and dusted. Hacker, the only way in is out, and that is the issue you run into, my friend. 40 seconds on this diffuser. You need to get on it with 7 seconds remaining. They had a drone there, and it's not going to matter. This round is concluded. Ooh. Down to 1. And what? Hold up. Hacker, you shouldn't have been in that fight. TechU, what are you doing, my friend? Well, luckily for us, 1 HP is not going to get over aggressive, so they will pick up a 3rd round here. Like I said, it is done and dusted. Just Hacker somehow picks up that kill, and I still don't understand how.
TechU is a very interesting individual, I would have to say. The fact that that was even allowed to happen in the first place, Chu just rushing him down with the pistol looked like. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but yeah, 1 HP do end up securing the round. Finally, just letting the diffuser go ahead and burn out. And yeah, no, the patented green hall rush coming out from 1 HP. Seen them do it pretty much every time they get the opportunity to, and well, I was expecting it, and it did end up happening. Just a very effective rush, all things considered, and especially considering the fact that Scull brought the castle for their strategy just meant that the players on the side of Scull and that were roaming, or at the very least end up rotating off of site in the end, were just stuck outside. And well, the players on 1 HP were just able to hold those angles. So ultimately, in the end, I feel like that we probably won't be seeing that again in this map if they do end up attacking it once again, that site, but at the very least, they are now going to have to deal with the upstairs floor, which they haven't seen yet from Scull.
Scull, yep. We have yet to see the top floor, but another thing between EU and NA is the difference in site choices. We usually see Europe go for the top floor first, NA decides for the bottom. Again, it's personal preference. If teams feel more comfortable downstairs, go for it. You're more than welcome to do so, as we saw from Scull. They performed extremely well. More importantly, Hacker performed extremely well. But this is an interesting setup from the Cade. 2 different Electroclaws in 2 different positions, locking down 2 different walls, both of them being a single reinforcement each. That power, I have to say, is a new one. Usually we see the Cade lock down maybe just one of those walls with the unique one we saw towards that nightstand. But the second in the floor to the side, that is an intriguing decision.
It seems like they aren't too worried about the wall over an attic getting opened up, or at the very least, they know that players or teams, excuse me, typically just send a Maverick over there to open it, so they're not too worried about them actually having to deal with it and put a Kai Claw there. So why not put both of them on this wall? While I was talking, it is worth pointing out that a very nice kill came out onto Binya, the Sophia already going down. TechU, though, does fire right back, getting a kill through the game's window onto Aggro, and removing them from the board means that we are still at an 8th man count. 4v4 on the board with a minute and just about off the time bank. The wall does end up getting open. It seems like they read where the actual claw was, or at the very least were able to get it from the game's window, and that may have been how they were able to get a frag so early on the side of the attackers.
Yeah, that's one issue you're running into. I do believe Aggro fell over towards the small tower side. We saw the roam coming through, and TechU with the AR-15 and the 3X on it. So I do believe that's where the kill came through. On the other side, Binyat, however, just fell. And a little surprisingly, Chu, I believe, takes out the Goyo shield, does just that, and uses the Gon 6 to complete set action. But they have yet to clear the Electric Claw in Master, and well, there goes the impact. Down go those X Kairos pellets. And I believe, yep, there's another impact on this not done yet player. And oh my goodness, not done yet is cleared. Trist plays it to perfection and clears out the anti-Wamai, who attempts to use that impact trick play. Does so, but loses their life for it.
This is pointing out, however, it costed them the ability to actually get through the wall itself. So because of that, now they're going to have to worry about effectively taking in through this trophy room door and then pushing into the rest of this site. We do see Teku is actually on this big window, so could potentially provide some crossfire or get a couple of frags. They do end up pushing into the site, but it's going to be a bit difficult. That AR-15, unfortunately, is not that good at clicking heads, and while the SMG-11 is, and we see Kobe with the SMG-11 going to be quick peeking, or at the very least putting a little bit of pressure on that big window. As 30 seconds are now left remaining, the players on Scull are in a really good position to potentially stall this push, with Perseus getting a frag early on into this push. Chu going down is going to be huge. A 3v3 now on the board. The players on Scull are still playing passive. They need to get the diffuser down at some point, but Triss is a bit too afraid to rotate over. The C4 does end up coming out. Tech, who will secure the kill onto Perseus, but Kobe's in white hall or the white stairs is able to get one, gets another, gets all three! A very nice and effective closeout from him, controlling the SMG-11 recoil to perfection and securing the round by himself for his team.
Both of those kills were with the same mag. The final two, that's insane. Both headshots, both clean, and both concise from the mute working up white. A little bit of help from the roaming hacker over towards the attic side, but no kills coming through from the German up. It was just the Brit to clear it out, and now Scull up onto map point. They will take Oregon, assuming they pick up the basement just the same way they did before. And this is the challenge that 1HP are running into. If anybody remembers, just a few rounds ago, 1HP had one of the more difficult runs on the basement site, to the point where they got a single kill, and 4 of them died to the same player, that same player being Hacker.
Hacker has absolutely popped off on this defensive half in particular. I believe that he was negative when it came to kills. At the very least, he was even when it came to kills on the attacking half. But as soon as we switch over to fencing half and the Scull got him on this Jaeger, it was just done from there. He's gotten a ton of kills, popped off really heavily, and while he didn't do as much last round, the crossfire potential and how scared it made 1HP play when they were pushing in just allowed and ultimately helped players like Kobe, I believe, just be able to get those kills with the SMG-11 and ending up closing out the round. So credit needs to be given to him, even though he didn't get the kills in that round. He's been doing a phenomenal job, and with the round starting, him back on the Jaeger once again, we are going to be once again expecting amazing things out of this player, and well, potentially him being the one that closed out the map.
Yeah, if you're looking for exact numbers, Hacker going into this half was 3-4. Got 4 rounds in round number 7, or 4 kills in round number 7, 3 in round number 8, and oh my goodness, another one right there. And it's the clear trade coming through into Aggro, who trades 1 for 1. But Hacker now up onto, I thought 11. Maybe? Is my math awful? Did I?
It looks like
Perseus finished off a down player. Yeah. He finished off a down player. That's what he did. No, but Hacker did get 3 kills in round number 8, albeit they were relatively useless kills, but kills nonetheless. And yes, Hacker's been popping off to the fullest extent possible, possibly, as we've said it, and as you just said it, to close out this half and to close out the map. Very effective from Hacker, really on both sides, but especially now in the defense, because he really didn't have to show up in the offense. There weren't many kills for him. They got the 4-2 split, and Hacker only went 3-4.
For casting, I dislike the new down mechanic where it gives it to the player who downed them. Honestly, it just makes things so annoying to figure out stat-wise who's done what and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, enough about that. We do need to point out the man advantage is firmly in favor of Scull at 4-3, but there are still some key players remaining on the side of 1 HP, in particular Trist and Teku, playing those hard breach operators are going to be able to get the hatches open and, well, allow them a couple more avenues of attack when it comes to them actually pushing into the site. Although it seems like right now, Tristan in particular is going to be pushing down this freezer stairs, and this is going to be holding the bottom freezer stairs, while Louis is going to go ahead and rotate all the way over to laundry, it looks like, with Teku dealing with the security hatch into freezer itself. Although it looks like they're taking their time. They do have a minute left remaining. Just going to rotate all the way around. A lot happened within the first 30 seconds. So they've really taken their time to not necessarily drone per se. It does look like a lot of their drones were actually destroyed. So maybe I'm a bit mistaken on that. But at the very least, try to figure out where the best avenue of attack is. And then, well, now it looks like they're going to be executing on with a ton of flashes and nades coming in to clear out anyone who might be playing in freezer.
They've done just that, but Hacker clears it out. Louis down, so is Teku. It's down to just Trist in the 1 versus 4. Gets nothing at all. Not done yet. Was not done yet. They clear out Oregon. So does the squad of Scull. 7-3 are finished there. Very difficult for 1HP to mount really anything consistent. 2 rounds in the first half, 1 in the final. The 3-1 split in the defending half for this Scull side. But I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed in 1HP there. Not very many kills coming through, difficulties with many different aspects of the game, utility coming through. Yeah, they had a lot of utility burn, but they didn't act anything off of it. And Power, I'm looking at that map, and I gotta say, a lot of things could have changed, and a lot of adjustments could have been made throughout the first half on the defending side specifically, and they just weren't.
It felt like that there were a couple of rounds that were really close, that if 1HP had just made 1 or 2 less mistakes, they could have definitely taken it. But there were also some rounds from Scull that just felt utterly dominant, where it really felt like there was almost nothing 1HP could do because they either made so many mistakes or Scull was just playing so well. So, I mean, props to Scull for looking so good in the first place, especially, obviously, we mentioned players like Hacker, but also, fortunately, I'm forgetting the player's name. Perseus, I believe their name.
Perseus, yes.
Yes, Perseus. They did an amazing job in the attacking half in particular, and then was also able to show up in that final round as well. So big props to both those players in particular, but the entire team for just doing so well and working together, especially considering their current circumstances. But at the very least, 1HP are not out of it yet. There is still, at the very least, one more map they have to play. And, well, if they are able to take it back on Clubhouse, then, well, they're going to have to show up on Villa. But first, Clubhouse.
Yep, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. It's Clubhouse on the other side. We'll be right back. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back. It's map 2 up and on the cards. I am TimeToLight. I am joined by the lovely Power of the Storm. And Power, map 1 was a little difficult for 1 HP. I'm going to say the least, because they had their challenges both on the offensive side and defensive side. 3 accumulated rounds between the 10 played. And they didn't even look like they were doing that well. Some of them were much closer than they should have been.
Unfortunately, that is the case. The rounds they did end up winning were, all in all, a lot closer, like you mentioned, than they really should have been. It felt like that, in particular, the final round they ended up winning, which was their Green Hall rush, kind of fell apart towards the end. Thankfully, they already had the diffuser down, and pretty much everyone was dead aside from Hacker. But even then, a couple of their players just unfortunately were not hitting their shots really well at all, and really heavily costed them. The players on the side of Scull started realizing that towards the end of the map and just started playing hyper aggro against them and winning their gun duels really effectively, and ended up working out really, really well. So hopefully they will be able to get back in the right mindset, really just start getting back in the swing of things. Maybe that was just their warm-up map. I don't know, but hopefully they are able to take it back, because I mean, I repped them. I said, I thought they were going to win this, and well, it's like a pretty different team, all things considered.
Yeah, as the kids say, hit your shots. That's what we saw them do fairly well, but it seems like the teams are ready. Of course, we are as well. It's time to get right back underway. It's Clubhouse. We head back to, of course, the bomb game mode, because this is competitive siege and we don't play hostage around here. Or else, I would play and then I would bring Fuse to every single round. But Skull start on the defensive side this time around. 1 HP on the attack, and I feel like Skull have a massive advantage. Their defense was next to flawless over on Oregon, where they only dropped the round where 1 HP quite literally held W through the Green Hall window. So the issues, I'd assume, if they are going to arise for 1 HP, will arise in the first half of play. Hopefully those can be minimized, but a Maverick ban coming through from Scull as a first ban's a little interesting, because you usually see Thatcher off the board, but 1 HP, I'd assume, are going to ban Thatcher, but you never really know. Let's see. What? Oh,
No, Habana getting banned, which all these two operator bans are not surprising for Clubhouse. What is surprising is seeing them both together, which means Thatcher's on the board for the first time on Clubhouse in ever, for the most part. This is going to make this match either way more interesting or way more boring, as we're just going to see the walls get open immediately by a Thatcher Thermite or Thatcher Ace, whatever you want to say, combo. That just means that there really isn't anything that the defenders can do other than just like prepare for the wall to get open and then hold passively, which can sometimes be a little bit boring. But at least for the defender bans, nothing surprising coming out from them.
Yeah, you're seeing Valkyrie and Mira off the board. Both of those have yet to be played. Both of them banned, of course, back in map 1. I don't think we're going to see much playtime here. But the attacking bans, those intrigue me just a wee bit. The Maverick and Habana bans exclusively, not too surprising, but together, something to really note. As you can see, TechU going with the Thatcher. We're going to see the Thatcher get a decent bit of play. I think 1 HP we're hoping for the Maverick ban or something other than the Thatcher ban as the first ban from Scull, opting to pick into the Thatcher this time around. We saw Scull earlier bring the Hibana to very, very large effect, and I'd say it's a scary, scary subject to see 1 HP on the attack of their own map with the Thatcher in hand.
Basement is the first site that Skull are going to choose to go to, not opting for what in the past was certainly the more common CCTV and cache, but this map, or this site in particular, was still a very common one that liked to be brought out. So I will say I am a little bit confused as to why, or at first I was a little bit confused as to why they were going to be bringing the castle, but now it's very clear they're going for the old-fashioned extended roam that we love to see teams love to do so often, putting them in places down near bar, making it more difficult for the attacking team to effectively clear out your roamers, and we see there is plenty of them right now. 4 players off of site currently, and they've left one of their players on site to actually set up everything. But maybe one of them might rotate back, but for the most part, pretty much all of them are going to be staying up here on this roam, which is going to make things really difficult for 1 HP to clear them out.
Well, we're seeing another 1 HP rush. Now, they're not as quick as they were before, but the drone onto Kobe is going to spell their death. That is speed embodied, and that is what you love to see. But look at that, not done yet. Turns it right back, and using this murder hole, you can see Perseus comes through just the same. And this is a scary sight. Look at 1 HP falling apart at the seams. The rush was working until it seemingly wasn't. A combined 100 and maybe 180 HP between the two players. That's all they are left with in a 2 versus 4.
A death box is what that hallway is right now. Just the crossfire that exists through the hole that was made in the wall. It seemed like they anticipated that rush coming. Potentially, it looks like Scull may have done their homework when it comes to how 1 HP like to attack basement, at the very least, how they tend to attack base when it comes to them first attacking. And, well, because of that, they got shut down pretty heavily. As you mentioned, there's only 2 players remaining on set of 1 HP, Tristan and Louis, who altogether don't even have 2 full health bars to their name, and well, they got to go ahead and get into site. There's a minute 40 left in the time bank, plenty of time for them to work with, but they got to clear out these roamers still. Louis in the position to actually get a kill right now. He will end up getting not done yet, but he will take a bit more damage in the process. But for now, it's Perseus who's playing instead of Logi that they have to worry about next. They may just end up bypassing and going straight down the main stairs.
Well, it is still the 2vx. Now it's down to 3. Perseus is low. That is what it does come down to. Trist starting to just walk in and uses the skeleton key. That is a key in and of itself. Creates some room and will create the kill. Hacker's dead. That is important. So is Perseus. It's been turned on its head. The P10, all that's left for Hacker. Or aggro, my apologies, in the 1 versus 2. They do have a C4, so the possibility's still there, but the plant will go down in the back corner. Clearance has to come through. Hacker has to clear out this close angle, the far angle rather, but they start to push back and around, clearing out the Canadian op, but doesn't. Trist wipes it out and establishes the first round somehow, some way, to 1 HP on this attacking side.
Great work from those final 2 remaining players on the side of 1 HP to just hit their shots, and effectively they cleared out one of the roamers that was upstairs. On that vigil, if they were roaming all the way upstairs, they could just bypass them entirely, and they did so flawlessly, going straight down and winning their gunfights in the sides to effectively shut down the remaining players on the Scull and then end up taking the round. Very nice work from them. That pre-fire at the end was also immaculate coming out from Trist, who all in all had a somewhat disappointing previous map, but at the very least right now, it's looking like it could potentially be on the come up as we go ahead into round 2. CCTV Cash is where we are going to see Scull defending next, and there's a glass on the board for 1 HP.
I love this. This is nice because you almost certainly know you're getting that wall open. If you don't, you need to work on your denial of bandit tricking. That's what I'm going to say. Hacker almost blew himself up. Just want to point that out. Almost hit the wrong button. G, I'd assume most people use, is not the key you're supposed to use there. But nonetheless, Hacker stays alive. Now, I'm going to go back to this Goyo. Not the Goyo, the Glaz. Still both G's, just one said much more than the other. The Glaz is, I'd say, not too surprising, considering the fact that the Thatcher is available. You're going to most likely try and take out aggro on this bandit trick early, maybe have Bean Yacht on the Zofia go below and try and clear out that op. But as you can see, Hacker already setting up for the counter to the counter to the counter. Welcome to Rainbow Six Siege.
You want to know what I think that we are possibly going to see come out from Trist on this glass? I think they're going to use glass to take rafters, because Glass can very easily utilize in that smoke, and it was 6 picks onto it, so there is very little of any way of Scull to know they have brought them effectively shut down Trist when they are playing inside of the smoke in this door. And we see they do have the smoke grenades. This obviously is what's being planned here, and you know someone's going to be playing on rafters. Rafters is one of the most important areas to hold, at least in my opinion. So it looks like since that's where Trist set up right now, that could potentially be the plan. And if that is the plan, well, that's potentially going to be huge, but maybe not the biggest if, unfortunately, Bean Yacht ends up getting his head taken off by, I believe it was not done yet who did so, but bit of a middling start for 1 HP, as now they're down a player, and well, it was only a minute off the board.
Yeah, they're down a player, and they're most importantly down a Zofia. That's the issue you're running into. Hopefully they can bring it back, but Kobe set up on this Raptors position, trying to lock it down, and so thus far has done so fairly well, but Trist now smoking themselves off and starting to push through using that scope. Does Kobe read this? The answer, not yet, but down goes Trist. 1-for-1 trade as Hacker does fall. The C4, more importantly, is off the board, so they're down to 2 C4s on this defending side, but at that same point, 1 HP, down to 3 players themselves. We'll see if the nade does try and come through from Chu up into the Raptors position, but of course there are still those Wamais set up, and we'll see if Chu can clear out that bandit playing below. One of those C4s that was remaining is now gone. Not done yet, now downed through that window from the breach, and that's an issue you're going to run into. Those long angles, multiple angles now being opened up, are going to be challenging to clear, but now Chu's dead from that bandit I was talking about in Lounge.
The Ben, it seemingly has already gone back and placed another battery on the wall, meaning that there isn't really much the ace can do to get the ball open, if he did have any more Selma charges. So at the very least, making things more difficult for 1 HP. But considering that they are essentially in a 2v4, although more effectively a 3v2, the chances of them winning this round now are maybe a little bit higher, but still fairly low. The players on Raptor are still causing them a lot of headaches, and right now Kobe's been playing this perfectly. Getting that kill on to Trish was absolutely huge, setting the momentum, and they've been playing this angle so well. The peak from Kobe, able to take out Louis, and while Teku is able to finally secure the kill on to Trist, who did end up bleeding out, is going to be aggro to just swing down red stairs and ends up finding Teku, removing them from the map, and ultimately winning out the round. And well, ultimately, a pretty convincing fashion.
Welcome back to Swing City. Population 1 HP. They clear out. Well, sorry, population Scull 1 HP swung a little bit too much and died for it. But Scull, they pick up the round they should have won that time around. The Glaz comes through for 1 kill, but cannot replicate such activity. And, well, we're back to where we started. These teams are back even. And CCTV Cash, I gotta say, unsurprisingly won. A little bit of a differential from what we usually see out of teams like 1 HP, where you usually have those set in stone strats. Whereas this time, they decided to bring the Glaz. Of course, Thatcher's on the board. That's the main reason for it. But you get countered out the wazoo. The Goyo playing below, the bandit picking up that position, and Scull, remember I was talking about 1 HP not having that filler ability between their positioning. When one player moves, another player doesn't go into that same spot. The Goyo, getting taken out earlier, was filled up by that bandit we saw get the kill into Chu, and that is the main difference of both skill and discipline that I personally have seen between these teams, especially with Scull on the defensive side.
Back to basement. Scull once again have decided they are not going to attempt to hold bedroom and gym, which has in more recent times become sort of no longer a tertiary site, but instead a secondary site that some teams actually prefer to play more than CCTV and Cash. But Scull, fortunately, not so much. They want to go ahead and head back down to basement. I guess it is open and is, at least from what I can tell, to be the universally preferred site. So if it is open, you want to try to defend it again, by all means. And well, it looks like their strategy is exactly, if not exactly the same. I do believe they are not running a vigil this time around, which might make things a little bit more difficult for them in terms of getting caught up by drones, but even still bringing a lot of the same operators, which could potentially result in 1 HP once again reading this and may having a bit of an easier time defending it. But at least for the moment, it seems like they are getting slowed down quite heavily in terms of actually getting into the map.
With the reinforcements up top, it's just really going to delay. Nothing too much to write home about. We are going to see Chu send in that Gemini clone. It's not going to get all that much aggro backing all the way up to the main stairs. And we're seeing a more extended roam on the bottom floor rather than what we saw from 1 HP on Clubhouse, where there wasn't one. Trist is going to clear out this gym and bedroom side of play and, of course, over towards logistics. But nonetheless, nobody's there. They've all backed out and they've wasted their minute of time they desired to do. You can see the retreat has already come through. Not done yet, the lone player remaining on that top floor, at least from what we've seen thus far. And I like this. I like the more differential setup we're seeing, the castle barricades expended over towards various positions, and the castle himself setting up on that middle floor. It's making the lives of 1 HP very, very tedious and difficult to deal with, to the point where you can see all the drones having to be thrown in. They are down to what is 5 drones. They are down to 1 minute and 15 seconds on that clock, and down an extra player as Kobe punishes Trist through 2 different floors. That's an absurd shot.
That pre-fire coming out from Kobe is absolutely insane. Phenomenal work from them to be able to hit those shots, and to also the confidence to just be able to swing it and then still hit the shots as well. Just utterly absurd. In the meantime, after that crazy shenanigans, we do see that Louis and Teku are both going to be pushing in from dirt after getting it open. Currently, no one is playing up close in dirt except for the Smoker, or excuse me, the Mew, who does end up getting Teku and getting another one on the Louis. The double kill for the Mew. Binyat does end up getting not done yet, but unfortunately, it is not enough. There's 30 seconds left remaining, and there's still 4 players alive for Scull, only 2 alive for 1 HP. This would be another comeback of the same caliber, but Kobe's going to shut that down, removing Chu from the board and leaving just Binyat left remaining to try to rotate back. But they're almost out of options. They're just going to go ahead and drop down the site. They are able to get Hacker, but they've been goo mining. Kobe is just going to use it intel to follow right back up and get that final frag, secure the round, and take the lead from 1 HP.
Clean. That's what that is. That was clean. Scull, take it. And I don't even know what else to call it. There's no real reason that 1 HP should be expending that much time on a roam that really didn't do all that much. We saw the first kill come through from 2 floors away, give or take about 11 meters, depending on your method of measurement and how far away they were, depending on crouching, of course. But it was a little difficult for 1 HP to set anything up after that, because a lot of their soft reach was done and dusted. They could not establish the control they were looking for, and the challenge was immaculate. We saw the gunfights just won by Scull, and with that, the round itself, the 2-1 lead comes through. An unsurprising 2-1 lead on the defensive side, but now we head to Gym and Bedroom, the 3rd site in the rotation, the tertiary one, if you will. And this is crunch time for Scull. They need to play lockdown defense in the basketball sort of terms, where you don't allow a lot of room to be given for free.
We are seeing the Frost come out from aggro on the side of Scull. Not too surprising. This is probably the site that you see Frost get played the most. I would say on any site. Maybe Chalet holding bar, you might see her a little bit more often, but I tend to see her predominantly on this site just because of how many windows there are that you can jump in from when you are on the attacking team. And well, it doesn't even look like they are going to be placing them over on the windows, which is obviously it's the obvious place to put them, but they're going to be placing them in places like Logi, where they've made a vaultable rotate, which serves the same purpose as a window, but it does assume that the players are going to get control of construction, which they have given minimal effort over towards defending at the very least. And also, they have not really focused too much on actually defending, although I say that Hacker does rotate over and potentially is looking to get a kill here on the Binyat. They do, but the shots from behind Louis will end up securing the refrag. But already, once again, Sophia going down so early in the round.
Yeah, but Hacker's dead again. Hackers, by the way, is 1-4. That's their first kill of the game. Not performing on the defensive side like we saw back on Clubhouse. A little bit of a difficulty for them, one that we're not too used to. We saw it, of course, on the attacking side back on Club, but at that same point, they really didn't have to do all that much on Club, so see that as you will. Not done yet, going to attempt to establish this Electro Claw, and you're going to see it timed almost perfectly. The question is, has it been snuffed out? The answer, yes, it has. You can see the red ping does come through onto where that Electro Claw is, but will it be cleared? Again, the answer, yes. That EMP will come through. The Electro Claw will be taken care of, as will this roamed outside of the Scull defense. 1 minute and 35 seconds of the clock, just about that same amount gone in the round, and very good ground being made from 1 HP.
We are going to be seeing the clone come in from Chu, just try to get a little bit more intel. Chu as well, currently going 0-3, not the greatest performance from them either. there, but hopefully they will be able to get their frag in this round as they're currently playing close on the construction door, looking to maybe swing and get a kill or prevent anyone who might be playing aggressively on the other side of the door to swing at them. Teku playing outside on the window, trying to see if they can find anyone who might be peeking up, and they do actually get quite a lot of damage done onto them in a very short time frame, as Aggro is currently playing behind this bomb chassis, does end up rotating back to behind the couches, so in a bit of a safer position arguably, but still sort of playing for their life here. But they're doing such a good job of it for the moment, at least, as there really isn't much that any of them can seem to do. Perseus does open things up by getting a frag onto Teku, but Trish hot drops the hatch and does get a kill, but Aggro's right there to fire right back. Chu does get the refrag as well. We're in refrag cities. We're down to a 2v2, not done yet in Kobe, the two final remaining players on the side of Scull. One of them, however, is off site, is not done yet, left remaining, not done yet, does end up killing Chu. It's all down to Louis playing on top of the bed right behind this match, because they got to try and take out some of the utilities so they can start rotating around, but there's not much time left remaining. 15 seconds left. They got to get some kills going here, and it's not going to happen. Not done yet to get the final 2 kills to close out the round with a very nice head shot to end things out.
You remember back in prep phase when the Frost was just casually pushing down Frost mats, and one of them happened to go on the gym window? Well, that's where the Iana decided to place her feet, and now she was downed. That's, by the way, how we saw the free, and I say free, kill come through from the Cade. Of course, that being not done yet, the kill, of course, doesn't count towards them on the scoreboard. So if you're doing your math later on and you're like, what the heck just happened? There's your answer as to why. Of course, Ubisoft changes, and Aggro getting a kill basically for free. You place down a trap and they walk right on it. You get an extra little tick on the friendly side of the scoreboard. That is questionable. We saw the droning come through from 1 HP. It was a little lackluster, but the information should have been there as to the place down utility. Reckless, to say the least, coming through, and well, that's a free, I'm not going to say free round for Scull, because it was still labored, but one that was made much less difficult with the fall of the Iana, because the Cade had a free avenue on towards her death, and, well, it was a free avenue up the main stairs to clean and clear the attack coming through. Scull, they make everything easier, I suppose, as I gotta say, 1 HP, that's a challenging round to lose, because it seems so easy, but at the same time, you fall so quickly just the same.
Chu did end up getting a kill in the round. I do believe it was onto Aggro, although I cannot confirm that. So, you know, no one on the side of either of these two teams has 0 kills anymore. And as we head back to Cash and CCTV, once again, Scull are bringing pretty much the exact same operator lamp that we saw last time, but instead of the glass coming out, Triss is going to be on this thermite, which will just provide a little bit more utility for getting the wall open as well. We saw in the previous round where they did end up having to attack the site. It was a bit of a difficult situation all around, just because of the fact that, well, there was a bandit tricking going on, and it was able to result in, even with the even with the Thatcher on the board, they just got shut out really heavily, which ultimately may have cost them the round in the end, but at the very least, they hope to not be seeing that again. So this adjustment, I do quite enjoy. We'll have to see how well it actually does end up working out. And so far, it looks like 1 HP, they're actually going to be choosing to go for a bit of a backside push, or at least a few of the players are.
We're going to see Aggro back on that bandit tricking we saw, just casually placing them down yet again. Triss just took almost 70 damage through a drone hole. I do just want to illustrate that really quick. Teku, of course, not doing too much with that Thatcher just yet, and this is going to be a nade from below. Oh, no, the bandit makes it out, though. That is quick coming through, but will the bandit come back? Nade there. Aggro has to back out and does so quickly. Another nade being thrown in from Chu, who will get a kill down below. Perseus also falls to the Iana, and now Scull in a 2 versus 5. We've seen 2vx's be turned back before. 1 HP, the ones to do it all the way back on club, but it's so challenging. You do still have the C4. You do still have Kobe sitting on this far side of rafters, but again, there's only so much you can do with so little manpower. Kobe does get 1, looking for more, but it's turned right back from Chu. The 1-for-1 trade does come through in the end, but again, it's frags that just are not coming through. Aggro now in the 1 versus 3. A C4 maybe coming through. It will land, but a little too late, and I think this round's all but over.
35 seconds to defuse the bomb, or the diffuser, I guess, but won't even bother happening. Immediately afterwards, Binya going to not die at the very beginning, but instead get the final kill at the end of the round, as they were able to stay alive and get a couple of frags. And Well, unfortunately, I think that may have just been a case of Skull getting comfortable. 1 HP, they finally started hitting some shots, which we saw a little bit of the previous round. They won on round one, I believe it was. But besides from that, they really have unfortunately not been hitting as many shots as they need to. And since that is fundamentally the point of the game, it means that they have been looking significantly weaker by comparison. But in that round, Skull just didn't respect them enough. Their positioning was all over the place. 1 HP read them like a book, and they were able to shut them down really effectively, just winning out their gun fights on players that were playing too aggro into them. So now they are able to secure that round, and we are one step closer to securing the even half, but they do have to attack basement, which so far it's been a bit of a mixed bag on.
Scull back to the basement. Of course, you said it was a mixed bag. It was both in the first and third rounds. I'm getting deja vu back to our first map of play because we saw round one go, of course, to the offense, and then 2 and 3 back to the defense. I gotta say, this is a basically carbon copy where Scull yet again are up 3-2, threatening to go 4-2.5, where again close rounds for 1 HP, but rounds won nonetheless. This time around, Scull winning some of those close rounds just the same. And again, nobody's a clear favorite at this point. Of course, 1 HP, it is their map, so if you assume, and I say assume because we don't know, that they have some very decent defending strats on club, but again, I also saw them on Sunday. They got wrecked on club, so see that as you will.
It is an unfortunate situation all around for them, but hopefully they will be able to show that was just a fluke and they can bring it back in that the rounds they have been looking a little bit shaky are just because of the fact that, you know, this map is typically more defender sided. That is something we do need to keep in mind when it comes to 1 HP attacking. And well, like you mentioned, some of the rounds have been pretty close with Skull just kind of holding out in the end. That previous round was pretty dominant from 1 HP all around them being able to win that out. So if they do continue that trend and actually do a phenomenal job of attacking this site, which so far it doesn't seem like that an extended roam is happening from Skull. At least we don't see a castle on the board, which would be an indicator of that. It seems like they are playing more passively, but maybe as I say that, unfortunately, it looks like Hacker doesn't watch where he's going, and unfortunately catches a body full of lead as they get taken down, and they're currently sitting 1-6, which is just absolutely devastating.
Hacker's gonna then go like, I don't know, 8-7 on the game. Gonna go absolutely nuclear in the second half. I'm just gonna anticipate it now because it's basically what happened in the previous game. Of course, it was 3-4 to 10-4 2 rounds later, but I digress. Scull having their difficulties with earlier round frags. Of course, we saw it a little bit earlier through the floor onto Trist, but this time it's Hacker the first to fall. 90 seconds gone in the round, and decent ground being made up. I do honestly want to point out, though, they haven't started their push onto the bottom floor just yet. They've gained, a little bit of map control, but unless you start to get frags onto the players that have been playing on the site, then it's not going to get you very far. Trist looking to set up that new little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Hard breach tool, that's what I'm looking for. And, well, they use it to perfection, down to the final minute, and they finally start to create the room they need to, but without the Maverick on the board, they're going to have to use the Stature to deal with the hatch. And I think Kate's tricking that, and they are, but not at the perfect time. It's going to cost them maybe their life just the same, but no, Beanyat the one to fall there.
Beanyat losing his life means that now it's down to a 4v4 once again, but it's Louis that actually comes up and tries to kill the players that were both on a flank, and he ends up getting both of them. Not done yet, is still down from earlier in the round, and it's all down to Kobe, and essentially a 1v4 scenario. 30 seconds left remaining, not done yet, surely gonna bleed out, but Kobe in a good position to maybe hold us. He sees the players go down, his trigger defense is there, he ends up getting the down on the tech goo, and he has to win out this fight, and he gets down to such low HP. Chu and Louis as well are both pretty low, but Triss still left alive with plenty of HP left remaining. They're going to try to peek and maybe stop anyone from pushing, but they've already rotated all the way through the hallway. The diffuser is going to start being planted by Louis, but there's just not enough time left remaining for them to be able to take this. But it's actually Chu who gets the final kill through the wall, securing this round and ultimately securing this half, and even 3-3.
Shocking, to say the least. Shocking. 1 HP, they started that one off well, and then I thought it was turned right back around. I thought the round was turned towards Scull, and just like that, it wasn't. Looking at these replays, you can see our opening frags throughout the round. Of course, not done yet, being downed as the second player, and then was finished off towards the end. But Kobe here, I thought Kobe was going to take it.
I thought convincingly the round was turned right there, but frags being traded back and forth, Louis especially with that double kill, and just like that, it was another flip of a dime, basically a 1 versus 4 for Kobe, who, again, can only do so much. A one-man army is only just that, one man, and you can only get so far with it.
That half does end up eventually going 3-3, but now it's 1HP's turn to attack. We said that this map is defender-sided, so 1HP are now going to have to put that to the test and see if they can secure this map on their defensive side. We are seeing them bring a very similar composition, if not the exact same composition actually, that Scull ended up bringing when they did defend this site CCTV and Cash, and it looks like their setup is almost going to be the exact same, but actually Skull's the more interesting of operator choices, as we are seeing a Capital being brought out on the attacking side for the first time in this series, and for the first time in a while, in my opinion. I have not seen Capital been played at all, even though, in my opinion, he's still a pretty good operator.
The main issue you run into with Capital is the fact that Jaeger and Wamai both exist. That's what it really comes down to. But look at the expendables you have. You have 3 flashes on Hacker, you have the Thatcher grenades or the Thatcher EMPs coming through, so those bits of utility on the defensive side basically become null and void. We'll see how effective this Thatcher is trying to take out these bandit batteries. I think they're going to try and fake things, maybe have Hacker try and touch it for just a second and then go right back in after the EMP goes off, making Teku's life so difficult. They will expend 1, but if it works correctly, they may just get it back the other way. It is used. Oh my gosh. You have to bait out the first one. You cannot get both. And now Teku's right back up to 4 batteries, and the lives of Scull have just been made exponentially more difficult.
Very nice bandit trick work coming out from Teku.
There you go.
If you know what you're doing, then it shouldn't be difficult at all for you to be able to get that open. And well, Teku does take quite a lot of damage. They are able to rotate back, but it's actually aggro getting the first kill and removing Triss, the Jaeger, from the board that could potentially result in devastating consequences. As now Teku's off site, and there are only 3 players left remaining that could potentially hold this, as now Teku's going to try to see if they can maybe play their life and eventually get a frag there. But speaking of frags, a frag grenade is going to get a frag from aggro onto Chu. The smoke going down, especially so early on in this attack. Overall, 1:30 still left on the board is huge. There's now no more denial, but with aggro getting another one on the tech that is even bigger. Binyat, though, does stem the flow a little bit by finally getting the refrag for his comrades onto aggro, but the damage has been done. 1:20 left, and it's a 4v2 for 1HP. They're going to have to try really hard if they want to win this. With Louis stuck on Raptor, that's looking ever increasingly less likely.
Well, okay, they turn it right back. It's a 2 versus 2 now. Binyat, no, not looking the right way. And the information's now there as to where Louis is. But can they get the diffuser? The answer, they don't have to. Kobe cleans it out with 2 straight frags. There was 1, and here's the second. The information well in the favor of the attackers. And the L8 with the fun little G2 skin on it turns it convincingly in favor of Scull, who now take the lead. And we're going to take a look back at some of these plays. You could see that Capital Dart creating a lot of room. Of course, we saw Teku having to back out, and Trist in the end ends up falling. Teku trying to get aggressive up, but again, it really didn't matter. Scull take it and use their utility to perfection. We talked about utility burn with the Wamais and those ADSs, both of them basically rendered useless, and so is the 1 HP defense. Scull taking the lead in a very effective and clean manner, one that will benefit them for rounds to come.
Back to CCTV and Cash is the site that 1HP choose to go to. And we talked about this in the last map, where we do not like it when teams go a site, lose the site, and decide to go back to that site once again. It's a very poor strategy. It doesn't usually end up working out well for the defending team at all, and especially considering the fact that they are not changing up anything in terms of the setup. It looks like they're not changing anything in terms of the operators that are being brought out. Ultimately, it feels like that this may just be a repeat of the last round, but potentially even more effective from Scull, surprisingly, just because of the fact that, well, they already know what 1HP are going to do. They just faced off against it, and they just won. So it wouldn't be a far cry to see it happen again.
Scull, you said it, but I gotta say, Scull are looking good, and I think we're going to see a 7-3. I do. Unless Teku turns this into a very effective round, it's going to be so difficult. I'd like to see Not Done Yet use this Captar Dart again. Look how far that is, by the way. That is probably 40, 50 meters, the Captar Dart. The fallback does have to come through, accurately representing it with the little smoke thrown. And now the life of Teku is about to be made so difficult. Just wait for it. Kobe is going to throw in that Thatcher charge, and they're going to start to put it down. There's the second Capital, and a nade from aggro elsewhere. Beanyat removed. Down goes one. Oh my goodness, a second. Aggro and a double kill. Both nades, assumingly both on players that could not see him. And I think that's the round right there. Scull are looking poised to take a 5th, and in a convincing fashion, put themselves in a massive lead.
I mean, what are you going to do when you have players that are so good at the timing of cooking grenades? Just you're caught sitting in the default spots, which there's a reason why they are default on defense, because it's so easy for you as a player to just be able to effectively hold angles from that position. So of course it's where players are going to be sitting. Of course it's where they're going to be ending up, and it just results in, well, players like aggro having such easy grenade kills that he gets 2 of them in the same round. He only has 2. He can only get 2, and he got both of them. That is so rare to actually see happen. The fact that he's able to do it and secure himself double digits in this map is super impressive. And like you mentioned, this map already looking like it may potentially be over, but at the very least this round might be as well. And with Kobe getting another kill on the Chew, it looks like it's going to be even more likely here. It's all up to Tristan and Louis, who are currently taking some gun sides with players on rafters, but even still they have so much they need to watch. Louis trying to switch his attention between 2 different places. His players starting to pour in. Hacker going to get his second kill and kill Louis. It's all down to Tris playing inside of Cash, trying to watch multiple angles here, and it doesn't look like there is much they're going to be able to do. A final nade kill, 3 in the round, once again from below to secure out the map. And I mean, just this is unreal from Scull. They are performing so well, especially in this attacking half.
I just want to take a look back at these replays. Oh, look at that. Just like magic, they pop up. Aggro gets 1, and then just like that, you can see Aggro below, prepping the nade, throws it up and times it to perfection. Aggro currently batting 1,000 on nades thrown up, and then Trist is the final to fall. You can see the nade's gonna come through. There it is, and well, here's the replay of it. It's so nice to see. Timed. It could not be timed more perfectly. It pops at the amazing time right onto the floor, securing Scull their 5th. And Power, you said it, it's rare to see it done. 2 for 2 on one player. Think about 3 for 3 between 2 different ones. That's absurd. I am still at a loss for words.
It's clear to me that at the very least the players on Scull have practiced those lineups, or if they haven't, well, then they are both extremely lucky when it comes to that. But I get the feeling, based on how precision they were and how effective they were, even though we did see it the round previously, a couple of nades come out that, oh, we did see get 1 kill, I believe, but unfortunately did not see any more than that. It still just shows the absolute dominance from players on Scull. And once again, I predicted seeing 1 HP go back to the same site, that we were going to see them once again have to deal with players on Scull knowing exactly where they're going to do, and exactly, in this case, where they're going to sit. And that's how they shut them down. That's how they got them, with the nades from below and the effective timing coming out from the rest of the players that were attacking. I mean, in the end, there's not much they can do when it comes to that. They go ahead and secure that round, and well, now Bedroom is going to be chosen with Triss. Open things up by killing Hacker. The Thermite already going down. That's a really huge pick.
That is 1 turned right back, and the opener that we haven't really seen in this defending side has now come through, and it was almost taken away. I'm not gonna lie, don't peek that, please. Please don't lose an advantage because you want to get overzealous on an angle you're not aware of. Those are what we call off angles, and they have a name for a reason. They're not expected. Now, Scull are down a Thermite. It is Gym Bedroom, so it's not the worst situation, but they don't have much in the term of hard breaching. With that Thatcher still being on the board, it's still a possibility. Of course, Kobe has been fragging out, so they may not even need those EMPs, but Not Done Yet with those hard breaching tools are looking relatively good. So we'll see how it does turn out for them. I'd like to see Kobe play together with Not Done Yet and allow the coalition, or the combination of that utility to come to fruition, but we'll have to see how they decide to play it.
At the moment, though, it does look like they are going to choose to rotate over to garage and start to take from this side, potentially pushing up to construction, not even bothering to get that wall open after their thermite did go down. They do end up using one of the hard breach gadgets. I'm not entirely sure where that was used, but it was used on the single wall inside the construction to just allow them to have another angle of attack. There are 2 players on side of 1 HP that are kind of watching that, meaning that's going to be difficult for them to get a lot of value out of it, but at the very least, it's another thing for the players to have to watch out for. Kobe, in the meantime, is going to open things up by killing Tech. Few of those will my disc. Hopefully all of them were thrown out, because if not, well, that's going to be a potentially bad situation all around. The stun comes out, but for some reason doesn't end up taking care of the Kaid Claw on the wall, so taking a little bit of damage. But for the moment, at least, they've seemed to pretty easily shut out construction. At the very least, are putting a lot of pressure onto it and the players that are currently playing there.
That's so unfortunate. They throw in so much utility at this, and it's continuing to be taken out. I think that's the Capital utility done and dusted. I think this round is over where it starts. Trying to clear out. Oh, they shoot at him. Oh, somehow aggro wins the fight. Oh, that was way too close for comfort. It is turned right back, though. Beanyat with 1, looking for more, does not hit the pre-fire. Again, we're going Trade City, and Perseus there for 1 more. Like I say it, though, Louis holding the angle. The continuity of the spray does come through. But again, it's now the 2 versus 2. I rhyme, and, well, it seems like 1 HP dime. Kobe, now alone, looks for a frost mat that doesn't exist, and now it's time off the clock. Cannot find the Kaid. Cannot find the mutant. Well, cannot find the round. 1 HP, pick it up in a very, very glaring fashion.
That early round pick ultimately, I believe at the very least, was instrumental in the success of 1 HP in that round. It forced Scull to have to make a decision of where they wanted to attack, and it meant mostly having to go in from cash into construction, and then they could spread out from there. But it just meant they got funneled into the line of fire of the players on 1 HP, who were able to get a frag and deal a ton of damage onto another player before they got taken out. And then immediately the response came back from another player on 1 HP to get the refrag and just ultimately shut down the push coming in from Scull. Amazing teamwork and amazing refrags as well coming out from those players. Maybe potential some missed shots being, or some shots being missed from players like Trist, who very surprised he did not get a kill there, especially when he knew someone was pushing up on him. But nonetheless, his team was there to help him secure it in the end. And well, now this is once again looking even closer. Despite the first 2 rounds going heavily in Skull's favor, 1 HP, they fired back that round, and we're gonna have to see if they can continue to do so as they head down the basement.
This is a challenge that I'm seeing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd like to see Scull play the same they just did, but the issue is 1 HP have mended their way of play. And back to the basement, I don't know if it's going to work. I think Scull are going to change something that doesn't need to be changed, because 1 HP changed something when it did. And now that 1 HP is back to the basement side, we're gonna see if the Mozzie's effective on that floor roam. Now, Louis has been showing up. Hacker on the other side, playing the support role on this attack. 2 and 8 so far in this one. I predicted, what was it? 9 and 8, so unless he gets 7 kills unanswered, I don't think that's going to happen.
Potential is there, but certainly after their performance, and considering that they are currently stuck on the hard support for the most part, not the most likely of scenarios. But, it always is still there. At the very least, they are still alive in this round, which is a bit more than what they were last round at this point in the time. So now we're going to see how effectively they are able to get any more value done, as they did get the wall open into dirt, but smoke was there to stall them off for a little bit. The smoke nade does come out, so that is one very valuable piece of utility already used up as they go ahead and push in the dirt. There's 3 players, it looks like, in dirt, which is, I think that's a bit too many personally, but what do I know? I'm not playing the match right now, as the rest of them are trying to push in from other areas of the map and pressure out the remaining players on 1 HP that might be roaming or just playing in sight, see if they can get any vertical play going. But so far, not a whole lot has happened. A bit of damage onto aggro from the smoke grenade is all that's going to be done, but there's still a minute 30 left. Plenty of time for them to get something done, but 3 players up in dirt. I mean, this could potentially be disastrous if 1 HP are able to hold this angle.
Oh, Perseus. There's the trade coming through. Not done yet, of course, taken out elsewhere. But getting the takeout elsewhere. Trist was the one to fall. But I gotta say, 1 HP, that trade's not what you're looking for. The Oryx, yeah, you don't have a lot of utility, but there's your entire roam game down. Louis still at the top floor. I don't know if they've gone droned yet, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Hackers apparently just about to walk in. I do believe there's a Melusi on the top, or the close corner of that side. Kobe is there possibly to relegate that situation, but there's Louis on the roam. I was talking about aggro is down towards that kitchen side, and that's making the lives of Scull so much more difficult. Teku falling back, and Kobe will fall because of it. This round is already over. Perseus, the last one alive, 1 versus 4, and the roam is still there in the lounge position. The information should now be there. The finish comes through into Kobe. Perseus soon to follow, and there comes the peak. There goes the kill. Louis to clean it out. The Mozzie ending up with efficacy in the 10th round, and we are tied at 5.
And that is the perfect example as to why I think dirt pushes are stupid. And if you are going to push dirt, you should have like one person do it, because you are funneling multiple players into a very tight hallway with one exit that is very easy to watch cross angles for. It is so easy to just be shot down like fish in a barrel when you do end up walking through that dirt door. And I'm honestly so glad that happened, just because of the fact that it proved my point so perfectly. I saw 3 players push up inside of dirt and said, what are they doing? They're going to get shot from the players that are holding cross angles. And guess what? They got shot from the players holding cross angles on the door. And well, I mean, we might see it happen later on in the round if 1HP does decide to go back down to 2 base. Maybe they will decide to change up their strategy, and I hope to God they do, because if they push dirt again like that, I have several questions for their strategy, because I mean, that was just utterly ridiculous.
It was questionable to say the least. It didn't look good. I'm gonna hold my tongue on that one, because I think they're gonna do it again, and I think it's gonna work. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it in regulation, not relegation, because, well, it's not possible. 1 HP cannot go back to the basement since they just won it. They do have that 2-round buffer between, so it would have to happen in overtime. I do think 1 HP would go there in overtime, but both of these teams can still win in regulation. 7-5 is still more than on the cards, and as we head back to CCTV cash, it is more than likely it'll happen, but I don't know how 1 HP is going to perform both on CCTV cash and Gym Bedroom, assuming that either of them is won by 1 HP, because if they win here, they have to go to Gym Bedroom, or they have to go to Bar, which they're not going to. And if Scull win here, it's up to 1 HP. Do you go Gym Bedroom? Do you go CCTV Cash? I don't think either one's going to work, but it's really up to how you want to play it. We're going to see if the Electro Claw from a distance is there on the Cade trick. It's going to have to be timed basically to perfection. You can see the long distance throws being set up. The Mute Jammer is there, as is the first Cade Claw, but the EMP has to be used well. You can see it already being put down, and no, Teku isn't aware of it. Hacker is going to be able to throw in that charge from the Thermite, and, well, there's the wall open. Very good time made by Scull, who are looking good thus far.
You say 1 HP aren't going to go bar, and, well, I'm not going to say they are, but I'll just leave that for if it happens. In any case, it's still 5-5, a minute off, and the wall does end up being open. Drones are going to be coming in from the players on Scull. We mentioned their drone economy last round, how it was pretty good. Hope to see some of at this round as well. For a moment there, all 3 players were on their drone, as we did see one of them not done yet actually end up going down, and another one goes down. Triss getting the headshot kill into aggro, a very huge kill as well, as it means they now have a 2-man advantage. Perseus, the timing isn't there on the head. Triss doesn't see him though, and Perseus is able to finally secure the kill onto the Jaeger, playing up in rafters, bringing it a little closer, but still the man advantage, still in favor of 1 HP. There's still so much time left remaining, however, a minute 20, plenty of time to get something done, and with them having Raptors control, this could be devastating for 1 HP if they're not able to win their gun fights. As now we're going to start seeing Perseus. They're going to start to push up, and Kobe's just going to be watching the door behind them as Hacker, well, they're still outside on the breach, trying to watch anyone who might decide to push out. Scull, despite being down a man, are still in a decent position to potentially win this one out.
You can see they're not looking all that bad, and, well, now you can definitely see it. We're dead even. 3 versus 3. Oh, never mind.
Ooh.
Louis just domes Perseus, times it to perfection, and that is things basically turned on their head. Hacker has to create some ground. There are there is still one C4 available, but it has to be thrown to perfection from the Cade across. Kobe looking to set up the push, but Hacker at this point, just hold W. You have to rush in there. You're down to 30 seconds. Time continues to tick away for the attackers. Scull not looking too bad, but with the prep we've seen from 1HP, they're looking much, much better. Hacker setting up the plant in the close corner. C4 looking to be put through, but down goes that smoke grenade close, and Louis dead, but there's the C4 put through. There is the kill put in, and that diffuser was not put down. This round is just about over. There it is. 1HP take the lead and put themselves onto map points.
Some heroic plays from Teku at the end there. Coming up where it matters and actually getting that C4 kill, denying the plant from coming out, despite that plant being close on that wall when you know there are players inside the cache is very interesting. As if they had saw him push, I mean, that would have been over for him right there. Thankfully they didn't, but the C4 in the end doesn't really matter too much. And the final kill coming up from Teku as well, just secure that kill and make sure the round cannot come back at all. Very, very nice work from the players in 1HP. They've secured OT at the very least, but now they need to win it on the gym and bedroom where they last went here. They looked pretty good, all things there. The trades coming out were very, very good from them as well. And it's really where, at least in my opinion, they started their comeback to really bring this series back and bring it closer to an act, or bring them back to overtime. And if they're able to close it out here, that would be phenomenal, especially considering the first couple of rounds on this half.
Gym bedroom is a toss-up though. Last time they won it, they won it closely. Did they? Is my math? Am I stupid?
Like 2-0, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There were 2 players remaining. I was thinking to myself, and I was like, wait, they did win it. And yeah, it was based off of time. I'm now getting my recollection back to me, along with looking at my notes. So that kind of helps. Look at your notes, kids. But Scull, I don't know how favored they are at this situation. If we go to overtime, I think they have a little bit of a better shot because they should start on that attack in overtime. So you'll see the 3-3 split come through and possibly a wee bit of a advantage for the attackers because they get to control the tempo of the game. But it really comes down to how they want to play. And at this point, it comes down to that exact same position. Aggro trying to hold that same angle we saw all the way back in round number 9, and I don't know if it's going to work this time. I really don't. I don't think they're going to get aggressive on 1 HP because they don't have to. It's down to Scull to play aggressive and to take the ground they need to take. They haven't done so in the past, and it has to come through. There is the mute jammer put down, and they have now found the electroclaw, but it's so difficult to deal with because you have to take so much ground to do so. I think we're going to see just an EMP thrown in and ground taken because of it, but I wonder if Louis is trying to play Cade tricking. The answer, no, he's not. He does not have either Cade in hand. He's just chilling over towards the mattress.
The wall is going to get opened eventually, finally allowing them access into the, not really the site proper, but the very least give them access to be able to push into the site via the 2 hallways that are available to them. The players on 1 HP, however, are still playing a little bit passively. We see players like Triss kind of peeking some angles that, maybe they don't need to be peeking, trying to just rotate over to different parts of the site, particularly near construction as, well, now the wall is open. We are seeing players on the side of Scull, such as Aggro, starting to push into CCTV and then eventually rotate over into cache to eventually pressure out players like Trist who are playing on these deployables inside of construction itself. Although still there are potential for other players to get some picks as players like Not Done Yet are outside on the windows looking to maybe try and pick someone up if the timing is there for them, but at the very least not much is happening. Damage does go on to Louis for a brief second, and nade is going to be thrown to try and get rid of the deployable, which it will, but with a minute left remaining and no kills going either way, and 1 HP in a phenomenal position to stop the attack from Scull, this might be the end there for them unless Scull can really hit their shots where it counts.
Aggro's gonna have to peek around, looks for that same angle we saw before, but this time not there. No dice, as the kids say. Teku does roll a perfect dozen as Hacker falls, and that's an unfortunate turn. Chu's taking a decent bit of damage from the Capital bolt thrown in, but the asphyxiation dart doesn't do as much damage as they would have liked. It's so difficult for Scull to take the control they need. Hacker dead yet again, of course, 2 and 11. My prediction was anything but correct. And so much utility still available for the defending side. You still have that C4 now just thrown away, so no longer there, but it's turned right back. All information's there. 1 for 1, now 3 for 1. Everything turned back. It's down to just Chu. 1 versus 3. Scull, send us to overtime.
What on earth has happened? I swear I blinked and all of a sudden the entirety of 1 HP was dead. Just a crumble is all that can really be described there. They were in the perfect position to potentially hold back the push from Scull, and they just simply didn't. They let them walk in and just click heads and walk all over them, and well, that may cost them in the end, as now they're heading to overtime where they are going to start out on defense first, but that may not be the best scenario for them. They're definitely going to be kicking themselves if they do end up losing this in overtime. They could have won that at the very end, but now, fortunately, the pass is behind. That's heading down to basement like you predicted. We might end up seeing that DAL rush, but I pray to God they don't, because honestly, I still think it sucks.
I'm not going to say it's good, but you have to play it correctly. That time they didn't. Of course, we saw them fail to do that at any point. But remember, it was a 3-3 split at halftime, and well, after the game, or after regulation ended, it was 6-6. So neither team has a real advantage on the defending or attacking side of play. It really comes down to a day that ends in Y. I would like to see 1 HP take their defensive round, because Scull was relatively sound on their defense. They just made a couple of mistakes here and there, and after analyzing it, and after about 14 seconds of talking about it, I feel like the situations are easily remedied. But we're going to see aggression yet again. You can see those proximity mines are going to be thrown out. Trist is going to play aggressive on the Oryx, and the main players I'm looking to perform here are Trist playing that roaming Oryx, and Kobe playing the Thatcher. Yes, I said playing the Thatcher because nobody's in a real fragging role other than those with frag grenades on the attacking side. So it's really a toss-up as to who's been getting the kills, and Kobe, the one with 15 of them through 12 rounds of play, that's who I'm really looking at.
Right now, we are seeing a very heavy roam game, as you mentioned. Players like Trist, who are playing on that Oryx, who's being solely used for their roaming capabilities, but at least for the moment, they are looking a little bit worse for wear. Quite a lot of damage has been done to them, and well, now they're just going to be playing inside of bar, holding the angle onto the doorway outside as players start to push in from kitchen, particular aggro, trying to see if they can maybe get a nade in from below, but no one's actually playing in sight, so nade won't really get any value. It does somehow do damage to him, which, I mean, okay, Ubisoft, but at the very least now it will allow for the hatch to be open as they confirm no one is playing inside of sight, and aggro takes even more damage this time. Not sure what that was from, but in any case, it will mean that now they're a little bit squishy. Here, they start to get some vertical play going. Beanyat looking to maybe fire back and stop that vertical play, but won't find anything for the moment at least. They are going to go ahead and rotate all the way over to stairs for some reason. I'm guessing trying to play maybe a little bit aggressive here, but there are still players like Louis who are on the roam up in bedroom, which was a bit of a pain in the side of the players in the previous round where they attacked this, just because he was able to get that flank and get those 2 very important kills that could have potentially made things more difficult for Scull.
I do just want to point out they are doing that same push through dirt. It's not working. I think the main reason this time is because they're not clearing out any of the roam game, and they're not allowing any help from above. You can see Hacker's downed right now, as of right now. Not dead yet. We may see the Finka Stim come through. In the end, it will just be the pickup and most likely the Finka Stim to help. But you think, oh my gosh, they Finka Stimmed before Hacker was picked up, so Hacker only has 20 health. And I think when that expires, they're going to be down to 5. Actually, no, you do keep your 20 HP, but that's so not smart coming through from the Finka. Nade's going to be thrown in. It won't create any room whatsoever. Chu goes right back to where they were, and now comes the Mossberg. One shot does hit. Not enough damage done. Ooh. Kobe now dead. Not done yet. Does take out Trist. So that flank is now taken care of. But Perseus picks up Kobe, using that Finka stim. In comes the push. Down goes Perseus, looking for more, but it's taken out. Down to 30 seconds. The push now establishing aggro. Look to your right, it may just give you a kill. Down goes one player, and down goes the kill. And down goes Scull. Aggro will fall, and they will inevitably fall to their death as the P12 from Teku will remove their life. The defense does come through. 1 HP do pick up the opener, and that dirt push is anything but fruitful. Questionable from Scull, doing very, very little different. And they took out one roamer, but didn't realize the second was there. There is the drone game from Scull, not working to perfection. 1 HP now, able to shut it down.
I have nothing to say. The dirt push is bad. Maybe having one push while you have people, like if you're doing a kind of pincer attack where you have someone push down blue, someone push down dirt, someone push down main stairs, and people dealing with kitchen hatch, and you just attack from all different angles that can overwhelm the defenders. I can see that working out pretty well. That's why I think that it can be good. But I feel like that when you put two players, and two very important players in particular, into dirt, and then have the rest of your players not really even bothering to clear out the roam, just kind of chilling in kitchen. And unfortunately, you get situations like that where they do get some value, they do get some picks. They did get one of the roamers, even though once again Louis was roaming in the exact same position with the exact same operator, and he still got away with it. And as well, you do pick off the smoke playing instead of dirt, but he stalled for so much time and did so much damage to the defenders themselves that, I mean, at that point, it just wasn't enough. There's not enough they can do there to be able to win out that round. And I mean, yeah, with all these rounds, every single round, every single micro play they do, every little mistake is going to be adding up, and it could cost them. Scull are going to want to close this out here and not have to go to map 3, where potentially 1 HP could be on a tear after just winning this one. And 1 HP, well, they're fighting for their chances inside of this series, and well, ultimately they're in the lead. They're at overtime match point. All they need is one more, and well, we're seeing that Villa.
I'd say it's a possibility, but just about everything's a possibility. I could win the lottery next week. I don't think it's going to happen, but then again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and I don't buy lottery tickets, so there's your little bit of an analogy for today. I want to see Hacker get kills, though, and in the first half, Hacker went, what, 2 and a lot? 2 and 6, maybe?
Yeah.
Hacker didn't get a single kill in the second half. That's I don't know. I think this is really in-depth and difficult analysis for me, but that's not good. Last time I checked my notes. I don't think Hacker has what he did back on Oregon. I just don't. And you have to stay consistent. That's one of the main things out of Rainbow Six Siege I've picked up, is consistency is key. It is the same in a lot of esports, but they really didn't have that consistency between the last part of Oregon and now what we see on Club. Yeah, Kobe has 16 frags. Outstanding play. And oh no, Perseus is dead. I was about to mention Perseus's frags, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Chu now gets the kill, and that is an opener going the way of 1 HP, one that we usually saw go the way of Scull in the first half, where Skull's on the back foot and Villa is quickly approaching.
The smoke going down as well is huge. We already know how powerful smoke is. We saw that last map as well. The first couple of rounds, no smoke was brought in. Well, it looked pretty poor, but then they started bringing out smoke, and then all of a sudden, wow, they started doing a little bit better. Who would have thought? And in the end, well, I do have to say that smoke going down, obviously huge. No more area denial, which will make us that way 1 HP. They can just kind of walk in. They can wait for the timer to run down all the way before pushing in from the construction door, which it seems like is where they're putting a majority of their pressure. I'm not entirely sure if they did end up getting the main CCTV wall open, but it doesn't really matter. They seem to have totally shifted their focus, but it will actually be aggro. It's going to open things up for his team at the very least by getting that kill, peeking out of the CCTV window and getting the frag onto Chu. With that Iona down and with no more clones available, and also no more nades, that could prove devastating. But Teku's going to get that refrag, firing right back and killing aggro, making things even more or bring things back in favor for 1 HP. And the minute left remaining, it might be the case that Scull, unfortunately, when it matters towards the end, they just can't pull it together. But there still is time for them to make something happen.
45 seconds of time to be specific, unless there is, of course, that diffuser plant. We will see a multi-dimensional attack coming through, and it will be shut down all from one place. Not done yet with the double coming through. Hacker, possibly, and now it's just not done yet. Louis actually gets the kill there, but down to 10 HP themselves. It's such a difficult position for Louis, looking for anything they can get, but the diffuser is in hand. This is possible, but I don't think it's probable. I do not think we are going to see a round win coming through. The pre-fire does come through, but Hacker reads it to perfection. 2 kills for Hacker, 2 kills for Not Done Yet. And guess what? It seems like this side of Scull is not done yet. We're gonna see a round 15.
All the way, baby. The final round to determine whether we see a map 3 or if 1HP go home disappointed. Once again, 1HP are back on defense, and well, this might be the final nail in the coffin for Scull. This is a defender side map. So far, this OT has been defender side for the most part, and well, now 1HP, their turn to defend. A CCT being cashed. They're bringing the same lineup that we've seen from them the entire time. Pretty sure it's the same lineup we've seen from Scull the entire time, because nothing says Siege like same boring old comps. But we do see a Flores, surprisingly, in my opinion, come out at the very last round here, taking the place of the Finca, who so far has been very, very strong on this attacking side.
I'm gonna say I think the Fink has been great, but I want to see Perseus on the Finca. That's one thing I'm not seeing, and the Flores, it's great, but I don't think it's good up against what we're seeing. You're gonna see the mute, which is making the lives of Scull so difficult. By the way, Hacker got a double in that round, doubling his overall kills for the game. Yeah, nice job, Hacker. Somebody in Twitch chat, Woo R6 called "Here Comes a Hacker 5-piece." It was 2, but hey, it's better than nothing, as we saw from the previous, I think, 7 straight rounds. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Baby steps, as the kids say. Quite literally, kids, as well. Babies take baby steps. I'd like to see Scull, though, play aggressive this time. I want to see them pull the 1 HP rush, the coined 1 HP rush through green, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I want to see if Trist is going to run out. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a massive possibility, and well, there you go. And I was right. Look at me. Trist doesn't get a kill though, but I mean, hey, the run out came through.
The timing, unfortunately, just isn't there to take down Kobe. If they had, that would have been huge. It would have basically meant the wall wasn't getting open, and I pretty much would have called it there. That may have been the round over, but I, at the moment, am curious as to what the Flores is doing. It looks like they are just trying to pressure out various different areas in garage for the most part and take out some utility that is on the wall. That is like that is what's happening. They, at the very least, did get that one of them off the walls, but they so far they've been being shot. I thought for a second they might be utilizing the Flores drones to sort of act as like just regular drones that you have like a ton of that you can just send in to give you intel into where the players are, but didn't really use them for those. Just kind of use them to get some utility off of rafters, which I'm not entirely sure if that was the best use case, especially because you sacrificed a Finca for it. And well, he only has 1 more left. This better be an impactful one, otherwise I feel like it may have been a waste, unfortunately. With 1:30 left, either team needs to get something going here, or else, well, I mean, it might be that 1 HP just win, because Scull unfortunately just can't do enough when it comes down to it.
One good step is they do have the wall open, and now these ADSs have been taken care of, at least for the time being. Of course, time ticking off the clock means the ADSs will come back into fruition and up into efficacy yet again. Not Done Yet needs to make their push, though, and thus far they haven't. I think those ADSs by now are right back up. Nade's going to go up. It's not going to hit anything. It will take out a shield, though, and create a little bit more room for this attack. Beanyat not getting aggressive, nor is the entirety of 1 HP. This round 15 interaction is about as close as it gets. Oh, Trist, no, looks the wrong way at the worst time, and Hacker's going to turn it into a frag. There is still 1 C4 on this defending side. That is one caveat to what we're seeing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They have set up a decent enough push. Kobe is blinded by the teammate, blinded by the light, if you will, but they still have the smokes, they still have the C4 on Teku, and they still have the manpower available, but it's slowly ticking away, as are their health bars.
Percy's getting that frag means that now it's down to a 5v3. The smoke nades are going to come out to try to stall out the round, and Louis going to get a very nice frag on the aggro, but Hacker's going to fire right back. Down to a 4v2, 9 seconds left remaining. The C4 does not get anything, and Kobe's going to get the plant down. Teku runs up the stairs and straight into the gun of Perseus, and with that, unfortunately, the comeback stops there. They are not able to take it back, and we will not be seeing a map 3 as Scull just barely, but still do end up taking Clubhouse.
When you switch to us, you're gonna see me upset. I am upset that we're not seeing a map 3, not that Scull won. All right, I do just want to point that out. I am not upset that Scull won. They played astoundingly, and Hacker, by the way, went from 2 kills to 7 kills in 2 rounds. Look at you! Let's go! So proud, but I gotta say, I'm really upset that 1HP weren't able to close that one out. They had the opportunities, but I feel like in crunch time, when it comes down to it, Scull are a better team. They hit their shots. They had very, very good team utility usage, and for a disbanded team, I'm not gonna lie to you, they're kind of nuts. Like you said earlier. Hey, anybody looking for one? There you go. 1HP shut down in the end, and we have sad news. 1HP, they're not looking as good as they were. I believe now, as I look at my statistics, they should be dead even with Scull in terms of both maps and games. Both of them being 1 and 3 in games and 3 and 6 in maps. No, actually, 1HP is 3 and 7 in maps. So Scull do move up into 5th place, right up behind Eclectic. But that's not looking good for 1HP, who are now down in maps. They are down in head-to-head to a team that will be competing more towards that middle of the field as the season progresses.
Unfortunately for them, that is a pretty big loss overall, losing that spot to Scull. And again, you mentioned a team that doesn't really have a home. Honest, it's gotta hurt, unfortunately, for them. Hopefully 1HP will be able to effectively come back into it from this loss, and will take what they can from it and learn, and ultimately be a better team because of it. And hopefully someone picks up these Scull players. I mean, God, that was all things considered, that was a really, really good match from them, especially that first map. The second map looked a little bit more shaky, but even then, it was still a really solid performance. So all in all, GG's to both of these teams. A huge GG to Scull for being able to win that one out. But fortunately, that is going to be it from us tonight. We don't have any more matches for, I believe, up until this is the last one of the week, actually. So there will be.
We may have VODs. Yeah, that's
maybe
that's about it.
Maybe VODs. So, but yeah, but other than that, it should be all the live matches at the very least. So, I mean, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to work with you once again. It was a pleasure to cast these maps, and well, hopefully everyone enjoyed.